No. So okay, let's go back to like agencies, because a lot of people that are listening are at agencies and they're trying to figure out um how all this fits together. And if you're listening and you feel like you're behind, you are. Um uh Basically it's moving really, really quickly. And so if you're starting to build custom GPTs, that's great. And you should be doing that. But that is from a research mode, not from a do mode. So there's going to be this agent economy, I believe. And I was involved in crypto and I think they're kind of merging, like frontier technologies are coming together. And even I don't know if it was McKinsey or who released a report saying last year was the year of the agents. And I think this year with OpenClaw kind of kicked it off. And now we're starting to see digital teams being set up, people integrating this stuff. And I mean, once a company gets AI enabled or AI first and starts to move, that gap's going to get widened and widened and widened. And so I think you really need to stay on top of what's happening. I think where we were talking about in the beginning, can you build your own tools so you don't have this massive bloat in tech? And a lot of times people are paying a lot of money for models, or sorry, SaaS products, and they're only using a component of it, right? And they're like, and it's not working for exactly what I want. And so I feel like there's this opportunity to customize and build what you need for your workflows in a way that really benefits what you're trying to do. Like I would love to hear kind of maybe some of the just high level stuff from a CRO standpoint of some of the maybe the first tools that you're like, man, someone's not doing this. We have this internal capability. Like, let's build this tool that does this thing. And I saw on your site too that you've started to trademark some stuff. And I'm just kind of curious, okay, like when you started to wrap your head around this and you said, I can apply this to our business, where you went to first.
Yeah, I think on the CRO standpoint, well, just to take a step back, I think where agencies should be thinking about this is really in terms of like, first and foremost, what sort of proprietary data do you have access to, right? How can you leverage that data, and how can you get your back end systems in a place where you can sort of put AI on top of that data to really maximize its use? And so, an example from our business is we've been around for 15 years now, and we've run thousands and thousands of experiments for our clients. So you can imagine A/B tests, multivariate tests, personalization campaigns, all that good stuff. We had the foresight to keep all of that stuff in a database. So we've been collecting all of these experiments and all of that data in a database for years. And so we realized at some point, hey, wow, we're sitting on this mound of really great A/B testing data.
Yeah.
And so could we put AI in front of this? And we kind of started where everybody else is kind of doing it with these things. Is it's like, okay, well, let's set up a RAG system first, right? So if you have questions about past experiments or kind of what's worked for other clients or verticals or different things like that, we can enable chat so you can ask questions about the data. But then we sort of quickly pivoted to this idea of like, could we use AI and machine learning to train a model
Mm.
on this data to then predict the future success of new experiments, right? So just kind of using priors to do that. And we found that we were able to train a model on that both looks at a predictive analysis of the likelihood of the test winning, but then also like what is the going to be the projected impact of that test. And so it sort of takes those two dimensions, marries them together, and sort of gives you a score of whether you should consider running that test or not. We call that impact lens. And we knew that the efficacy of that was going to be a longitudinal study, right? Because you roll something like that out, and it's like, well, you got to run experiments, you have to bring them to statistical significance. Like, this is going to take a while to get a number of experiments in the hopper that we've scored using these algorithms to say whether or not this works. And we did find, interestingly, that over time, we actually saw not only the predictions match with reality, but that the efficacy of the tool kind of increased the more data that we were
Hmm.
able to learn and train on it over time. So that's just one example. I mean, the advice I would give agencies is really start with like looking at, hey, do you have data that you're sitting on that could be useful? And think about creative ways that you could leverage that data. It could be, the ability to do client research for clients, competitive analysis, or research that you could then use to create unique differentiating strategies. There's kind of all kinds of things to be thinking about with this.
I love that. There's another tool out there. I'll give it to you after this call, but essentially I think someone set up, I think it was like 10,000 uh like profiles, right? All different like people. And you can then take that the thought or the thing that you want to test, right? The hypothesis, throw it into that and then see how they talk to each other, how they connect, and kind of see what happens to the model. I think taking that data combined with like what you have could give you like a even fuller picture of that impact, because I think that a lot of people are going to want to say, well, what is the synthetic test or what does the model say before we spend $1 on ads, right? Like from an ad standpoint, you're starting to be able to create, the tools are amazing on, like, you could take a product and you could create all these different ads in different placements, all these different things. And now you can like run that test to say, okay, like what is the likelihood or variance that we think we're going to get with this? And that's something I think that the business side of companies want to see when they look at marketing. So it's not as soft, but it's really like, here's that investment of what it's going to do. And so it's something tangible. And I think that that's why, if you even say SEO versus paid ads, is why paid ads tends to get more budget, because it's more concrete on what the output is and where those influences impact. I mean, how do you view it when you're looking at data sets and you're running tests? Like, have you, paid ads is you set up the test, you run it.